Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? It's been a while. It's been a long old while. I haven't been live in 16, 17 days. So I'm back now. I have no idea if I know what I'm doing anymore. I have no idea if I can get through this. We shall see. We shall see what happens. So bear with me. Be kind. Don't be mean. We shall see. I hope you've all been well. I hope you've all been having a lovely time, despite the heat. The heat has been the major issue for why we haven't been live for a couple of weeks. Yeah, it's been tough. It has been very tough here. We have had, as you know, I live in an office, which is in a loft, above two flats. So there's downstairs flat. There's mine and Alice where we live, and then I'm up in the loft. And it's about 30 degrees up here now, because even though it's chillier today, it is all the heat rises and gets trapped inside the building, so it's very, very warm up here. So it almost didn't happen tonight either. So yeah, it's been a tricky couple of weeks in terms of making content. Lots of promises made to myself, and none of them kept. So we're massively behind on everything. Everything over the last couple of weeks. Cathay, massively behind. Space Wolves, we're behind. Some Patreon bits as well, massively behind. Just massively behind on everything. During what is an absolutely unbelievable couple of weeks of content production. Unbelievable couple of months of Warhammer model releases, which is really, 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 really difficult for me, as you know. So my brain has been full of fog and heat because I've been wanting to work, but I haven't been able to for a lot of things. So there we go. Aircon fund for Warhipster. So we do now have a portable aircon unit. The problem is it's always going to be a fighting. It's always going to be a battle up here. Always. It has to be a portable aircon unit because we can't install climate control here because it's not our house, and that would be a complete waste of a few £1,000, only to lose our deposit because we made changes to the house. So the problem is like I said, I am in a loft. I'm surrounded by insulation on all sides. So any kind of air conditioning in here makes it possible to be in here. It does not make it possible to open paints. I've had to throw away 15 pots of paint because they've been dried out. So that just by virtue of being closed, which has been awful. So yes, we do now have an aircon unit, which makes it possible to be up here to build stuff. But essentially, my working window for the past 2 weeks has been between about 1 AM and 4:30 AM. So I've been able to do 3.5 hours worth of painting a day, which is why there has been very, very little content coming out from Cathay, and indeed why we didn't finish the Space Wolves. So yeah, all that good stuff. And as you can imagine, I get caught up in a lot of my brain dwells on all of the things where I made mistakes, basically. So Yeah, it's been really, really difficult last couple of weeks. But we're back. Hopefully it's going to be a bit cooler. Is Tails this coming Sunday? Oh, I doubt it. I don't think so. If it is, then no, it isn't, because I'm going to move it. No, it's scheduled for the 13th of July. Apparently. Apparently it's been kind of hot here in the UK. I wouldn't know anything about that, as here in Scotland I had to swim to the shop today. This is such a weird country weather-wise. Yeah. I've been yesterday, day before, it was 32. So the peak temperature that I've had up here did finally hit 40 in the studio. So nothing was done for a whole day. I built one prosecutor. And then I was like, cool. Just going to sit by this aircon unit that's keeping me cold, but not the environment cold. So, yeah. This is why we need to move. Very much desperately need to move. So I can only apologise to anybody who was expecting live streams on the last couple of Mondays and Wednesdays and it didn't happen. There was a reason for it. So, you know, I've been trying my best. I hope you've been enjoying some of the videos that have been come out. Logan Grimnar, obviously, and Njal Stormcaller, Arjak Rockfist, they're on the way. I've started the Wolfguard Terminators. We've had the Jade Warriors. We've had 3 Cathayan Sentinels. We've had the Gate Masters of the Celestial Cities. Hopefully at some point I will get a Grand Cathayan Cannon, some Jade Knights, a Lord Shugengan Lord on Spirit Longma, and of course the Sky Lantern Den, but we shall have to see. Glad you and Alice are okay, that's all that matters. You did the right thing and it all builds anticipation. Yeah, Alice did the right thing. So Alice was house sitting for my parents in Southsea. Last week? Was it last week, Al? The week before? She was house sitting for my parents in Southsea, so she was went down to the beach and swam in the sea almost every day. And I was here desperately trying to struggle my way through Grand Cathay. Because I knew that this period was going to be really busy, so I said I wouldn't be able to get down there. But if I didn't realise period was going to be really busy and the heat was going to be punishing, which basically meant that any minute where I could possibly steal a few seconds to do some work, I could do. But yes, we do now have the aircon unit. It is a portable aircon unit. It does do the business. It is not on now. The reason it is not on now is because it's punishingly loud. And because it's too loud, it means I can't stream. As compared to struggle through Saturnine. I do not have a copy of Saturnine. So, no. I finally finished my company heroes and used transfers for the first time. Can't wait to return to normal power armor. I might be tired out from characters. So it happens. Happens to the best of us. Do you plan to make a video on the new AdMech to complete the Typhon box, or is it really low on your list, especially now with a long list of Cathay and Space Wolves? I'm going to be honest with you, Behir Games. The AdMech were never on my list of things to do. The reason being is that I've already done them. I've already done all of the things that are in that box before. So if you want any of the Mars stuff, it's the same as any of the AdMech Mars stuff. And if you want the Servitor, go and check out the Inquisitorial Agents video, because there's a Servitor in that and it's the exact same one. So those videos already exist. So it was never going to be on my list of things to do, because We've already done it, basically. There's no difference between any of that. Hello, Lucas. How bad is the balloon for painting? I don't know. I haven't got to it. I haven't had time. I haven't been able to. Put it in context for you guys. My typical work week, I usually put in about 14 to 16 hours of work a day. And for the past 2 weeks, I've been able to do 3 hours a day. So, pretty much over the last sort of 16 days, I've lost 160 hours worth of work. Which is why there is no video for the Sky Lantern, the Wolfguard Terminators, the Drop Pod, the Lord Shugengan Lord on Spirit Longma, Grand Cathay, Grand Canyon, the Jade Knights. Yeah, that's why. Did you enjoy painting Deathwing? I have yet to find a recipe I really enjoy to use. The armor usually comes out darker and dirtier than I meant. Yeah, I quite enjoyed painting Deathwing. They're using Seraphim Sepia makes the process nice and simple and easy. The trick is to use. This always comes up. I say use the recent Deathwing videos I did, Belial, Deathwing Knights. That is reformulated Seraphim Sepia. Most of the time when you say to someone, oh, it doesn't work, it's because they're using old Seraphim Sepia, or they're not even using Seraphim Sepia at all. Reformulated Seraphim Sepia, and it's just the same fundamentals as the contrast paint. Don't slap it on at all. Just take it panel at a time, step by step. Hello, Blethen. Enjoy the rest of your D&D session. Been devouring your old videos. So much amazing work. Do you still have the large Marathi from around 3 years ago? Certainly do. Marathi is here. Marathi is in the cupboard behind me. Good evening, you wonderful people. Too hot to paint, but we're doing it anyway. Well, I've tried. Hello, Warhipster. Were you able to pick up a Perturabo and or Gilliman on your trip to Warhammer World? I was able to pick up Gilliman. I was not able to pick up Perturabo. He is out of stock. He might be in stock now, but I was able to pick up Rabute Gilliman. Rabute Gilliman is here. He's still in his packaging. I haven't done anything with it yet. Hello, Simon74. Thank you very much for the 5 Warhipster gifted memberships. That is very, very kind of you. You kick us off today. I decided to reset something. I needed to reset something, so we've reset the counter. We have a goal of 50 members today. That's 5 of 50. So 45 to go. Have you ever painted a Celestant Prime? I have painted a Celestant Prime a long time ago in the colours of the anvils of the Heldenhammer. There is not a video on it because I did that before there was a YouTube channel. Do I want to do one? Yes. Do I want to do one in time for the AOS Worlds Golden Ticket event? Yes, I do. Am I going to be able to? No. Batman's going to have to take another swim across the Atlantic to Forge World. He may well do, yeah. Started following your content after the OG Horus video. Glad to see you are still doing well. Thank you, R2. Even Josh, your Wolf Boys were outstanding. Thank you very much, Tales from the Mustache. When are you going to let GW release the remaining MESBG miniatures that have been shown? Never. I'm never going to let them do that. In fact, I'm not going to let them release any more miniatures ever again. They're done. It's over. Sorry. See you later, guys. Bye. I realised there were some member milestones right at the beginning of the chat that I missed because I was having a moan. So we're just going to quickly go through those. Edward705 has been a member for 23 months. Much is asked of those to whom much is given. Exactly. The creed of the hallowed knights. I've got 6 of those prosecutors to do for this golden ticket event that I'm doing. So we're slowly working on those in the background. Today was pretty cool, so I was able to apply silver to all of them, so that was nice. Tattoo Zoologist has been a member for 16 months. Do I get a gift? What gift would you like? The gift of a job well done? The gift of laughter? Friendship? These are things I can offer. Simon, earlier on, member for 20 months. Hey all, it's been a minute. Glad we are back. We are back, baby. Let's go. And you've gifted 5 Warhipster memberships because you're a legend. Thank you very much. So yeah, we are here. We're live. We're doing it. My music's really loud in my ears. I'm just going to turn it down a bit. Tell me if that's turned it down for you, or if indeed you can hear it at all. Glad to see you haven't cooked in your painting cage. Oh, I did. I was physically sick during the heat wave a couple of weeks ago. I have no idea why. But I woke up. I woke up with it in my sinuses. That happened, so that was fun. I'm also really suffering with hay fever at the moment. So if at any point in the next hour and a half, however long we're gonna go, my nose just starts leaking. It's just what it does now. It's just my reality. I'm having antihistamines every day, and it's probably holding back the worst of it, but yeah. So yeah, it's it's been a trial, man, honestly. Anyway, how are all of you? How have you been up? What have you been up to? Been up to anything cool? Pardon the joke. Grass has been rough this year. It's been awful, Captain Mannerings, honestly. I checked the pollen counter earlier today and it was like, oh yeah, in Cheltenham, grass is extremely high. I was like, oh, cool. So clearly it is grass problem that's the problem, pollen that's the problem for me, because it's just, it's awful. Yeah, see, look, sniffing already. I talked about it. I paid attention to it, so now it's a thing. GameX with the 5 gifted Warhipster memberships. That's legendary work. Thank you so much. Been doing some Space Wolves, and currently I do not know why I am painting my first 1,000 Suns. How much trim can one have? Yeah, it is an obnoxious amount. Met Reverend Chris at Whammer World and fanboyed a bit with Jeff from the painting phase. Nice. Sounds fun. Tidying my hobby desk is probably about the most exciting thing I've done. Oh, I've done that as well. It's good. Ed, you're moving. I want to get moving. I did finally buy a magnetic, really useful box to test. And once I finish the space walls, we shall see. Captain Mannering's received a gift membership by GameX. I thought you were a member, Captain Mannering's. Did I upset you? We moved in this sort of heat. Not fun. Ugh. Ugh. I thankfully I don't think. Oh no, I have. I did actually. I moved in this heat when I moved to Croydon. I think. It was before the sort of last 5 years of increasingly awful heat waves. Finally have a base for my Chaos War Mammoth, though. Oh, nice. Wouldn't recommend in 30+. No, it's awful. It's terrible. We moved in November when we moved here. We moved in November, which was fine. It was lovely. Little did I know what was going to happen the following summer, where it was truly terrible, and one of my teeth exploded. Changing over payment. YouTube is not the most fun to deal with payment-wise. Once sorted, I will repay. No, I get you. I get you. Honestly, I was joking. I was joking. Actually, do you know what? It is July, so I think maybe I might have. Maybe I might be able to gift some members out. Maybe, baby. Membership gifting. Yes, we could do 5. 5 out to the community. If you get one for the first time, congratulations. Come join the Discord. There we go. I would never want to be rid of you, Captain Mannerings. You're like a cornerstone of this community. Are you planning to cover the Saturnine miniatures when they drop? No, I am not planning to cover them, Adam, because we've done them before. I've said to chat, and I will iterate this again. If you guys can think of a good video to make, I'll do it. Maybe. But I'm stumped. I can't think of a good video to make out of them. Because just doing how to paint Saturnine Terminators in colour of X is just like, well, it's the same colours as the other things. So it's not exactly an expansion, as it were, of the thing. It's like, it's a really tough box to make any content out of it, because it's just kind of versions of the same thing again. And like, I know someone's going to say, hey, do one in all the legions. Already done. Already done. Mini Painty Dad with the 5 gifted Warhipster memberships. Legendary. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Dusk Raiders. Isn't that just grey? Hey Warhipster, I've been loving your videos. Currently assembling a Space Wars army. Mine seem to be darker in person than yours do in your videos. Not sure if it's lighting or too much paint. That's an interesting one. Mine are pretty dark. My question to you would be, would you be viewing my videos through a HDR monitor? Because that could be something. HDR might be powering up the colors. Maybe one was Salamander's flame effects. Done it before. Check out Contrast Plus how to make Salamander's Terminators. That's how you do it. Yes, it's a 4K OLED with HDR. Yeah, so I think maybe what HDR might be doing there is powering the color brightness up. So there shouldn't be any HDR present right now. Let me find a Space Wolf. Oh, I've got Ragnar here. Oh, he's an old one. Ragnar just took a tumble. Let me go and find a Space Wolf. And you'll see what I mean. Oh, my bloody knee. I haven't told you about that yet, either. Yeah, my knee's gone. I think it's the heat. I have a sinking feeling that heat might have exacerbated some underlying arthritic condition. Because it's the knee that I mashed when I was a kid. Alright, there you go. So there's Logan. This video you already have. See how my camera is now compensating for my hands? There you go. Here's Ragnar, not Ragnar, the other one. Njal. And here's Arjak. If you become a Patreon member, do you still need a YouTube member? Oh no, you don't need either. You could. It's either or. The reason I'm showing you those is if that helps, because there shouldn't be HDR powering on the live stream because YouTube just doesn't do that. So maybe that should help you as a color reference. And like I said, I've started these. All I have been able to do is put the Space Wolves grey over the top of it. It's yet to have the Tyrann blue. So Tyrann blue is going to go over it, and then of course the rust grey glaze is the thing that helps it. Now, if you're applying the rust grey glaze and you feel like it's getting too dark, what you could always do is just use a little bit less water and make it more of a rust grey layer. Oh, my bloody knee. Yeah, so the last couple of weeks in the heat, my knee has been in serious pain as well after being sort of sat down for a little while. So I'm having to kind of adjust myself quite a lot and sort of stretch my leg out, which has just been awful. So yeah, I'm worried. I'm worried that the degenerative knee condition that I was destined to have, courtesy of my mother, has finally begun. So there we go. Make a video of Imperial Guard in the colours of Starship Troopers on a panorama fighting Tyranids as the aliens in the movies. I mean, that's one way to deal with Saturnine. So yeah, Stormcast style Saturnine would be fun to see. So all gold. The thing is, right, guys, with Horus Heresy miniatures, if I was to take Horus Heresy miniatures and paint them not in the colours of the Legions and do my own thing with them, then the Horus Heresy community can sometimes get a bee in their bonnet about that type of thing and come for me. And I don't really want to be put on Reddit as an example of somebody ruining the hobby. That doesn't do much for my self-esteem nor for my growth. Oh, I see what you're saying, Shady. That's all good. Would you ever redo your contrast recipe for Dark Angels, given that you've done Asmodee's Green Hood differently? No, and the reason I did Asmodee's Green Hood differently is because it is a different texture. It is a green cloth, as opposed to a green armour. Just blended your... There is a Contrast Plus versus Classic video for Dark Angels as well. I will say that. That also exists. Just blended your Anvils of the Helden Hammer video with the Reclusions and Terminos video. It worked lovely, thank you. You're very welcome, Ryan. But I didn't do anything there. You did all that. Good job. Are you going to do any more Night Haunt? I would love to see your recipes for that whole range. We will look at what happens with Ideneth. It's just the Ideneth there, because Thomas says he guesses the Ideneth deep kit will be late because of the heat. Well, I don't know. You'd have to ask Games Workshop. I'm pretty certain that the Ideneth will go on pre-order on Saturday. I'm pretty certain it won't be that late. As to whether or not I've made any content for it, who knows? I don't know. But to answer your question about Night Haunt, we will see what happens when the Night Haunt range, well, when the Night Haunt battle tome is on the way. Night Haunt may get some more models. They may not. We shall have to see. Be interesting to see what they get. Curious how you'd paint Rack's skin. How would I paint Rack's skin? I'd probably use... Well, I mean, the first video I recommend you check out is my any of my Chaos Cultists, whether they're the Accursed Cultist Mutants or Torments or the Chaos Cultists videos, because there's lots of skin recipes there. And if there's nothing there to your liking, then you could always check out the Contrast Plus How to Paint the Gorger Moor pack. That would be another good way of doing it. A flyby visit, you sexy beast. You're the only sexy beast here is you, Mr. Biltong Boob. It's not me. I'm an old man with a dodgy knee and hay fever suffering. This is what I get for taking a nap. I missed the start of stream. I knew self-care was BS. No, you haven't missed anything. You've missed me complaining. I'm sure you could go back to the beginning. Oh, it's only 36 minutes of me keeping people up to date with how awful everything's been the last couple of weeks. Updates for ghosties. Yeah, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen for them. We know that they're getting terrain, because they're getting the, what are they called? Nexus of Grief, which you can now buy anyway for your Night Haunt. Do you ever airbrush? Not sure if it's worth getting one and learning that. No, I don't airbrush. The reason being, this came up earlier today, actually. The reason I don't airbrush is because I I don't want my videos to start in such a way that prohibits anybody from using them. Basically. I was a bit miffed about the Nexus of Grief being basically the same as the vamps. Yeah, you just reverse it and you get flowers instead of vines, which is a bit of a shame, and then you have to distinguish it by making a different paint job on it, which I think is a bit but it'd be interesting to see how it actually interacts. Unless they've already released the rules, I don't know. They might have done. Squishy Moose Miniatures, member for 16 months. Evening, Mr. Hipster, and all you lovely people. Thank you very much for being a member for 16 months. That's very kind of you. Have you done Logan on Storm Rider? I bought and assembled him 2 weeks ago, and then they released the reprint. I have not done Logan on Storm Rider. I would recommend using this video to paint him, because the only thing that's different is the bloody great sleigh. Otherwise, the two walls on the front go the same. Use the same recipe for the armor to do the Storm Rider. There's nothing functionally different about it other than it being a completely different model. If you'd like tips on how to paint Space Wolves vehicles, there is a Contrast Plus How to Paint Space Wolves Gladiator here on the channel. As I find myself answering that question. It'd be great if you did a Space Wolves vehicle. Already done it, bro. I don't know, I keep drinking my contrast paint and I don't seem to get the powers of the Josh. But that's not how I do it. You have to mainline it. Thoughts on the new Caradron Overlords minis? I like them. I think they do... I think the Caradron Overlords preview that they had the other day is the preview I was expecting for Ideneth Deepkin, and honestly, I think the Ideneth Deepkin release is a little disappointing. It's 2 characters and a bloody great spell, and that's it. Oh, and a new spearhead. But the Caradron Overlords one is the new terrain, which Ideneth already have. I understand in that regard the manifestation that is the same. But there's a new character and there's a new unit that is a 1 of 2 variant, and they both look to be combat variants, one of which looks like a little bit heavier and the other one looks like a lighter combat variant, which I think is a very big positive for the Caradron. Obviously, we need to find out what the War Scrolls of that do. I have no idea. So we shall find out. But it looks like it fills the gap that the Caradron needed. The Ideneth release does not do that. It doesn't expand the range, really. It just gives you more characters to not choose. Unless they're really good, in which case it gives you characters to choose. And I don't think it's a particularly strong release for the Ideneth Deepkin, if I'm being honest. They need more units. They need a heavier infantry, for example. Which I was expecting to see, but they're not getting it this time, so maybe in 5th edition. I'm diabetic, so I do have the needles and enough tubing to make that happen. Okay, so I would just say no, do not mainline contrast paint. Please do not do that. I was joking. Not medical advice, not financial advice, all that stuff. I've been enjoying getting to chat to you briefly during Millie's streams. Same. I love seeing the crossover in our audiences. It's nice. Thank you to everybody who supports her. And thank you to everybody who supports her that's come over here to support me. I appreciate you. Newer subscriber, that Logan Grimnar is getting used so much. Appreciated. The axe transition seemed very easy to do, which surprised me. Oh, trust me, it surprised me too, making the quants. I knew which colours it was going to be, but I was like, oh, let's see how this goes. What do you think of the new spearhead? I don't know about changing the shark for the king. I think it's fine. I mean, the new spearhead, if you combine that with the old spearhead, you've got a pretty good Ideneth Deepkin army. You've got all the eels you'll ever need. Plus, you know, 12 more of them, because that's all anyone ever takes. You mentioned you had a Necrosphinx on your desk a long time ago. Is there any updates on that at all? I do have a Necrosphinx on my desk. It's up here. That's your update. It's exactly the same as it was. Do you actually play much AOS, or are you too busy painting? Well, I don't know if you can see it. Hang on, if I do this, and I do this. See that? Those are my medals for AOS events. So in the last month and a half, I went to weekday Warhammer at Warhammer World. I went twice. I went to go for a 1,000-point Age of Sigmar event, and for a Spearhead event, and I came second overall at Spearhead event. I'm a Spearhead expert now. I think. I can't remember now. Yeah, there's 2 silvers there. In the Spearhead event, they let you take 3 spearheads, which was awesome. So I took Stormcast, Flesh Eater Courts, and Seraphon. And they all did very well. Flesh Eater Courts was my roughest outing, because my first game of the day, and bearing in mind this is my first full game of Spearhead I've ever played at this point, it was Flesh Eater Courts versus Flesh Eater Courts, which is fine, because it meant that he was teaching me how to play my army by killing mine, which was great, but I was really lucky with my card draw, so got really good points. My second game with the Stormcast was much better. They were really fun. And my final game with the Seraphon, I felt really bad about, because it was Ogres versus Seraphon, and I rolled obnoxiously well, and he rolled obnoxiously bad, which was unfortunate. But they did really well. I got a couple of not best painteds. Oh no, that's right. So at the 1,000-point event, I got favorite player and second best painted, and at this event, I got was it second or third? I can't remember now. It's really bad. The brain has done something to my brain. The brain has done something to my brain? The heat has done something to my brain. One moment. I'll be able to tell you. Scrolling back. Second best painted, second place at Spearhead. Yes. Yes. You got Gilliman but no Purty. No, I haven't been able to get Perturabio yet. He was out of stock. I'm going to see if he is. Let's go and see if he is. Warhammer.com. That's a zoomed in website. Perturabo. He is currently temporarily out of stock, I'm afraid. Perturabo. And they didn't have him in stock at Whammer World either. I do have the notify me on though, for when it does come back in stock. I can try and bribe Rich not to go next time if you like. his his Gitmob are exceedingly lovely. And when MESBG tournament? I'm sure I can get to one eventually. I would need to have an actual functioning army though to do it. And typically you need a functioning good and a functioning evil army as well, which I obviously do not have. So I just need to do it. Where is Mortarion on the to-do list? Maybe we'll do that to just stay somewhat relevant during Saturnine. Who knows? But I am going to be going to... I am going to the Golden Ticket event. When is it? The 18th to the 20th of July? God, I've got 16 days. Eek. 16 days to paint 6 prosecutors. We can do that. Which Stormcast? I took the new ones. I took the Lord Vigilant. That one. Not Yndrasta's one. Oh. I just realised I didn't say thank you to Mr. Shady Stranger for becoming a member. Thank you very much, Shady Stranger, for becoming a member. I just saw a notification for it pop up. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Thank you. If it isn't Mr. No Gore Grunters, I know, Curtis. I'm sorry. I haven't been able to squeeze them in. I did manage to get some stuff done for the Iron Jaws. I got the new releases, and the Brutes, and Gordrak done. I couldn't squeeze in the Gore Grunters at the time. I ran out of time to do them because Death Core of Krieg were just imminent. So I was like, ah! Do you think we'll be getting any more Stormcast Eternals models anytime soon? Well, no, not until, at least until the summer was last year. We've had a year, so it won't be next summer. The summer after will be... So next year... This time next year, we'll be preparing for 40k 11th. Year after that, we'll be preparing for 40 AOS 5. So maybe November 2026. Between then and February, maybe, when there'll be that narrative campaign. If they even do that. We don't know. I hope you're okay, dear. You have been missed. Thank you, Tom. I am okay. Like I said, hay fever suffering. It's far too hot to be doing too much painting, and my knee hurts. But I am back. We are back. Is this stream going okay? Are you guys enjoying this? I have no idea. I don't know if this is of the same quality as what it was before. If the streams were before were bad anyway, and this is a bad stream, then I guess nothing's changed. So if anything, it is as good as it always was, which was hot shit. Hello, Kevin. Seraphon need new models. Temple Guard plus Carno, etc. I could see it happening. I could see a couple of things happening. Are you doing a paint tutorial for the new Seraphon Spearhead? I don't have it. Never say never, but I don't have it. The new Caradron Overlord Spearhead is such a downgrade from the old one. I have no idea what's in it. What's in it? I haven't seen it. I have no idea. Great stream. Well, thank you, Dave. Any time spent with you is a pleasure, Josh. Stop it. Chat, if you could please. This is how strung out I am. We're an hour in, and I haven't told you to like the stream. Please, if you could leave the like us on stream, that would be very nice. The streams are always unique. See, that's the kind of gentle-natured ribbing that I expect to hear from you, chat. Oh, dearie me. Can we do any... Is there any work that we can do? Any painting? Unfortunately, a lot of it needs to be filmed. I suppose we could maybe apply some... It's still really hot though, that's the problem. Hunters of Huan Chi and the Spawn of Chotek. I have one of those. I don't have the Hunters of Huan Chi. So my plan at the moment is I've got stuff to do this week, and then I need to backfill some old stuff. So I need to get the Wolfguard Terminators done. Alright, for example. And I do need to get the drop pod done. Colours of the Blood Angels. Because that's what everybody said they would be interested. People said at the end of the video that they would be interested in seeing a Blood Angels drop pod video. So I thought, fine, I'll do one. That'll take me about a day to do on a cool day. That should do it. Once the Wolfguard Terminators and the Blood Angels drop pod is out of the way, I've got my 6 prosecutors that I'm slowly going to be working on over the next couple of weeks for my tournament list. I will walk you through my tournament list, and any Age of Sigmar experts out there can tell me if it's terrible or not, because there are 5 options. One which requires a lot of painting, one which requires none, and all the others require me to paint 6 prosecutors. Anyway, so my plan is to do all of that. I've got one more thing that I need to do after all of that, which I cannot tell you about. And then I've got a bit of a free period. So I've got some I've got some Patreon models to do for some of my toppest of tierest of Patreons. So they will get done. And then it's a case of we've got the rest of Cathay to go back through and do. So again, let me know if you want to see that. If you don't, fine. We won't do it, but let me know if you want to see the rest of Cathay, and we'll get that. We'll try and get some of that done. I'm going to try and alternate that with some other stuff as well. So my plan was to do some of the mountain of MESBG models that we have, but we might even try and bang out 1 or 2 kind of corrective bits that we need for example, for Project Spearhead. So maybe we'll revisit that, but we do have a bit of a clear period. So stuff like we could finally do the Blood Knights, maybe, for the Soulblight Gravelords. I haven't got that far yet because I need to get through this week and next week first anyway. But once we are through that, we shall see. Does more Cathay include the other 2 Sentinels? No. I haven't bought any more Sentinels. I hoped that doing 3 Sentinels would be enough. Definitely want to see the Shugangan Lord on Spirit Longma. There we go. Gotta paint them all. I see. Granite and Warpstone. Those are the only 2 I haven't done. Is that correct? Off topic, but I'm meaning to thank you for a while, but I haven't managed to catch you on stream to do so. Thank you for the follow on Insta. It means a lot. Oh, you're very welcome, Maiden. If I see your names, so I don't go on Instagram very often. I pretty much go on Instagram either to look at reels of cats doing awesome cat things, or to post on a Saturday. It's kind of the extent of my time on Instagram these days. But if I see your names, I try and follow. I recognise you from chat, so I go, oh, boof, and follow. Same for anybody who's in the Discord. But you could do 12 Sentinels. Yes, I could. I could do 12 Sentinels. So 5 Sentinels in both the poses. Is that right? You have a Discord. I do have a Discord. It is a benefit for becoming either a member or a Patreon subscriber. That's how you get access to the Discord. So you can, if you want to, either become a member or a Patreon subscriber, or indeed, if you want to, you can try and convince somebody in the chat to try and gift you a membership, and they can try and snipe you. It's not a guaranteed method, though. Who knows? You might get hit, you might not. That's the roll of the dice, baby. Will you paint Radukar the Beast? You have done Cursed City Box, but not him. I know. I have Radukar. I have Radukar here. He's actually in eyesight. He's over there. He's in his box. I haven't built him yet. But he is on the Soul Blight list of things to do. Slightly more pressing for them is the Blood Knights, because that's the one I get bothered about the most. Given the sprue review, I doubt Josh ever wants to build another Sentinel. I did build 3 of them. And, you know, pose 2 is absolutely fine. There's not really a problem with that. I mean, like I said with Cathay, all the things with Cathay is that Cathay, as a range of models, reads as a group of people designing plastic miniatures for the first time. And I know it's not, but it reads as a bunch of people designing plastic miniatures who don't normally design plastic miniatures. They normally design Horus Heresy miniatures in resin. And so as a consequence of that, it means that there's some slight problems with those kits. Are they problems that you should expect to see in a plastic kit? No. Are they problems that you would typically find in a resin kit? 100% they are. 100%. You know, stuff just sort of glues in where it approximately goes, whereas when you're used to building something like Space Wolves Terminators, for example, they just go together, right? You know, Games Workshop miniatures generally, they just go together. That's just what they do. They're just nice. You know, they've got guide pegs here, and they've got little triangles and little squares and all these kinds of things, and it's all designed in such a way that it's very easy to put them together. Basically, you can switch your brain off. Not with Cathay, in the same way that you can't do that with Horus Heresy miniatures, because Horus Heresy plastic kits are not designed for people who don't enjoy building. You know, stuff like the Solar Auxilia Basilisk that I bought for my Krieg. I took one look at those instructions and I said, absolutely not. I didn't have the brain space or the capacity to do it, because I'd built some 40k Lehman Russ. Absolute cinch to put together. No problem whatsoever. Each of the tracks, nice. They're in a lot of pieces, but each side of the track, each side of the Lehman Russ, perfectly fine. 2 pieces stuck together, excellent. Glue the track in. The main body of the tank, 1 bit, 2 bit, couple of bits like some engine blocks on the back and a box, fine. Turret, 1, 2, 3, 4 bits for the gun and for the turret. Bang, in it goes. Turret hatch on the top. 2 sponsons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces for each sponson. Done. Lehman Russ, easy. Assembled, no time at all. Solar Auxilia version of it, 150 components or whatever it is, and you're like, cool. Now it's the same thing for the Cathay. They are built by people who don't normally make plastic kits, and so as a consequence they are more complicated, and as a consequence putting them together is more complicated. It does require a little bit more effort, and if you enjoy building, you will enjoy the process. You won't enjoy the couple of mistakes that are in the instruction manual. Hopefully those will be sorted out, but what I'd recommend with the Sentinel is you just look at Pose 2. If you've bought one, just build Pose 2, because it's fine. So there you go. But this is the thing with Cathay, is like they're not designed for new people, and it raises a question in my mind: is the old world and is the Horus Heresy, are they game systems that are designed to grow? And I don't think they are. They're game systems that are designed to delight and inspire an existing community, which is an interesting tactic from a retail point of view, because they're certainly not easy to get into as models. So there you go. Hungry Bert with the 1 gifted membership. Thank you so much. And then Ryan Laycock has become a member. Legendary Scenes. Thank you very, very much, guys. That's very kind of you. We're almost halfway to 50. That's incredible. Sign up for membership because your vids are so helpful as a beginner, working through and loving painting Stormcast Eternals. I don't think I'd be enjoying it as much without your videos, so thanks. You're very welcome. I have 4 of those Horus Heresy Russ. I have bought 3 Sentinels to do all your tutorials. There you go. Does Cathay have obnoxious amounts of mold lines to make them feel like the rest of the old world range? I'm still shaving the mold line beards off my Tomb Kings. No. Well, so that's one of the things, right? These are all brand new models, so they don't have that much in the way of big, thick mold lines. You know, they shouldn't. You know, these are brand new molds, basically. And as a consequence, the cleanup on them is minimal, but the assembly is annoying. And I think I covered this in the sprue review for Grand Cathay, is that when I was building the Jade Warriors, their arms just felt really floaty, and not in the way that you would normally expect them to. You know, they felt like it was such a shallow connection point where there is a triangle there, a triangle peg thing to go with the arm as a guide track, but it's so shallow that it's almost meaningless. So they go like this as you're trying to put them together. You see what I mean? And you're like, wait, hold on. And it's going like this as you're trying to make it all sit nicely and line up. And it's like, that's just a really annoying thing. What are some of the most miserable minis to build in your opinion? Zeras and Flayed Ones are up there for me. I haven't built Flayed Ones, but I did build a Luminor Zeras, and he was hideous. Pretty much all things Necrons. The tiny little ball joints underneath shoulders, held together by a head that doesn't have a connection point with all of those pieces. The easiest part about that Necron range was the push fit stuff, and that wasn't that easy. Because some of it was really flimsy. And when you have a flimsy model that is push fit, you can't push together bits that are flimsy. Because as soon as they come under contact from any pressure, they just snap or bend, and it's awful. Kinnerai are miserable. Yes, I remember you saying, GameX. Another one that was absolutely miserable for me to put together, and I don't know if this was a skill issue or not, was the Doomdiver catapult. I hated putting that together. It was really bad. But I don't know if that was a skill issue on my part. The more I think about it, the more I think it was possibly a skill issue on my part, and I just wasn't getting it. Wasn't getting it right. Max, any reason why you don't use an airbrush for the larger models like vehicles or monsters? Yes, many. Oh, you want to know what they are? When I when I was a slightly younger warthog, but still quite an old warthog, in 2017, I had about a year's break from year and a bit, years break from doing anything remotely Warhammer whatsoever, and I had been I'd been dumped, and I went to Epsom Guitar to buy a guitar. Didn't buy a guitar because it was too rich for my blood. It was the one I wanted, but it was too rich. Still haven't bought it actually either. It was a Mark Holcomb PRS signature. It was lovely, really dirty sound on it. It was gorgeous. Anyway, that's an aside. I went there to do that. So instead I left Epsom Guitar and I walked around the corner and there was a Games Workshop. So I went in there and I was like, do you know what? I missed this. I'm going to go back to this. So I picked up some Space Marines, painted some Space Marines, and then I was like, I had fun doing that. I'm going to paint the rest of my Space Marines that I haven't already done. So I finished off the Space Marines I already owned. And then I was like, I want to do some more Space Marines. So I'm going to go to Games Workshop. And I was like, am I going to go to Epsom? No, I'll go to Tottenham Court Road. Anyway, I came up with a long shopping list of things that I wanted to buy. And a couple of things like dreadnoughts and stuff like this, and I wanted to buy some vehicles. I wanted to buy some rhinos and stuff, but I wasn't confident on how to paint them because I hadn't painted many vehicles in a very long time, so I wanted to figure out how to do that. So I went to YouTube for the first time ever to look up advice on how to paint, and every single video I could find, no matter what search terminology I used, told me to get out my airbrush. And hey, I don't have an airbrush, so every single video utterly useless to me. Because no, I don't know if I like this yet. I'm not going to buy an airbrush. I don't know how to airbrush. Why would I do that? That sounds awful. So I was looking for ages to find videos on how to paint with a brush, and not one single video did it. It was all, hey, today we're going to be using a brush and some Citadel paints to paint a rhino in the colours of the Ultramarines. But before we do that, we're going to get out our airbrush from Harder and Steenbeck, and we're going to get... Okay, yeah, I'm off. There we go. Every single time. And as a consequence of that, it's always annoyed me. And therefore, on my channel, you will never see an airbrush, because I never want somebody to open one of my videos, and it starts with getting out your airbrush. That's why. It's why I try as well for the majority of my videos to just keep it all within one brand. All within, I mean, contrast obviously is what it's going to be, but like very occasionally we will use something else, like a particular spray primer or something. But what I wouldn't ever do, for example, is let's say Leviathan comes out. I wouldn't start off Leviathan by being like, hey, maybe you're new to this hobby. Welcome everybody to the new 11th edition version of Leviathan. Let's call it Cornflakes. Welcome to 11th edition 40k Cornflakes. This brand new box, which is all about cornflakes and Rice Krispies going at it in the 41st millennium to subjugate mankind or whatever. Let's say that's the thing. So you've just bought your box, you come home and you go, right, and so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to whip out this paint brand you've never heard of, and we're going to use this paintbrush you've never heard of, and we're going to use this technique that you've never heard of, because it's not the thing that the man in the shop said. See what I mean? That's why. And so, like, if you want airbrush stuff, one day, what I would really love to do is I'd love to hire somebody to come and work on the channel, and then what they do is they make airbrush videos that aren't what I'm doing. So it becomes this whole other content stream of somebody who's doing the same thing. So in that instance, what we would have is we would have 11th edition 40k cornflakes. There would be my version of it, which would be the contrast plus everything's in the Citadel range. You could do it with a brush, all good. And then somebody else who works on the channel might do the airbrush and oils and all this version of it that happens as a separate thing. So it's just like, hey, here's this version of things that you can do things. Here's a different way that you can do things. Whichever you like. Pick your poison. That's what I would love to do. That's where I'd love to get to. I've just realised I'm completely far behind on chat now. Where did we get that? Josh, you should get an airbrush and start using it on videos. Fair enough, Captain Mannerings. Just ignore everything I just said for the last 4.5 minutes. Just going to use an airbrush from now on. There we are. 100% agree on the Necron range. I've been painting 5 Stormcast Archers, forgotten name, this week. Ugh, I hate them so much. Just trying to clear space out my drawer for all the Cathay models I will soon need to store. Are they Vigilors or are they Judicators? If they come in units of 5. If they come in units of 3, and you've somehow got 5, then it might be Vanguard Raptors? Vanguard Raptors with long strike crossbows, or Vanguard Raptors with hurricane crossbows. I am Stormcast guy. That's what I eventually also want to become. I would love for the channel to be the point of where everyone goes, hey, you know Stormcast Eternals? Stormcast Eternals and Joshua Hill. Those two names are synonymous. Same for Blood Angels, but we'll one day when they're good again. Agree, i.e. Kinnerite, love the look of the models, but not a fun build. I haven't got to them, but I do have some. I've got 10 to build at some point in the future. I think worst kit I ever dealt with would be cheating, but it's the Slaughtermaster. Ew. Hello, Sir Strommingfish. When he was a slightly younger warthog, he cleared the savannah after every meal. Oh yeah, no, I definitely did. Oh, at that same time, the other part of that story, the story I was just telling you, I was also undergoing a long and inconclusive investigation as to whether or not I had the big C in my R. Or my C. You know. The thing that can also be a word that is interchangeable with a grammatic object. That's the other part of that story. It was an emotional time. That's why I sub to you and love your videos. Josh, no airbrush in sight. Man's Mad was going to be so fun. No airbrush. Exactly. No airbrush. You can do it. If you can do it without an airbrush, you can do it with it. I can do it without an airbrush. I can. I know I can. Because I have. I did that without an airbrush. I did that live on the internet in front of people and everything without an airbrush. There's proof. Really, it's just because you hate fun. Yeah, that's true. Get out your airbrush. Don't have one. Close video. Yeah, exactly. I think that's the experience for a lot of people looking for help on the internet for videos. The airbrush makes things accessible in the same way a 3D printer makes conversions accessible. It's 10 out of 10 if you have one, but the upfront cost and learning curve can be a no-go. That is exactly correct. And that's the bit that people don't tell you, oh hi Emma. That's the... That's the second half of everybody's video about how this is really easy, do this instead. Also, use my affiliate link to get your own things. And now I'll tell you all the stuff that you have to watch out for. That's how we do it. If your style is called Contrast Plus, what would you call this other style? I don't know. It's a good question. That is a question for the branding people, which is me. So I guess I'd have to put a different hat on, you see. And I don't have my other corporate hats to hand. Wacky question. How else are you going to do Contrast Plus Harridan without an airbrush? With a brush? A Harridan would be easy. Come on now. It's all textured. If I wanted to combine Kragnos with a Cathay Sentinel, could I replace Kragnos' torso? Demon Jagtai conversion. Probably. I can't remember how Kragnos goes together. I can't remember how he goes together. So it's been a long time. I built that the weekend it came out, which was now 3 or 4 years ago. So it's been a long time since I built Kragnos. when you build the Sentinel, they are in two parts: the torso and the legs. I don't know if Kragnos is the same. Is Kragnos torso and legs? Is he separated by a belt, basically? Warhipster plus Stormcast, like peanut butter and jelly. That's what I want it to be. I want everyone to think that. I don't know how Josh does what he does with the contrast. Also, seeing the videos, the control you have with these flowy colours, I cannot do it. It's a knack to it, but you can get it. You can get it, Mini Painting Dad. You're a great painter. You can do it. Stick to the tip. Be gentle. Glide across the surface of the model. Don't brush it on. You'll be good. Trust me, you can get it. You did use a new brush for the Sentinels. Ah, not true. I used a Vallejo Pro Modeler 2, which was used... It's this one right here. This Vallejo Pro Modeler 2. This one was used to paint that Warhound Titan. So you're saying just the tip. Exactly. You just keep it to the tip of the brush. It's what I would recommend, if you can get your hands on a fountain pen, like a Parker pen, try just doing some writing with that on blotting paper. That will help you, honestly. Yeah, honestly, like practice with that and you'll get there. Like directly on blotting paper. That'll show you how gentle you need to be to get it. It's off the cuff way of thinking it. If you can do it without an airbrush, you can do it without an airbrush. Josh, are you trying to get a position for my senior management? Yes, of course. I want a promotion. I want a promotion to a 100,000 subscriber channel, but that's not happening this year. Hello, greetings from Italy. Just wanted to tell you, you are my painting guru. I bought a ton of Tyranids, T-Suns and Admic. Totally love your painting workflow, and I always copy it on my miniatures. Oh, that's very kind of you. Thank you, Sir Heineken1. I'm glad I could help. You're wearing a hat? Always. This is a hat. I'm bald under here, and under the baldness I have this hair. It's really confusing. But currently this is my streaming hat. It's how I'm able to exude such confidence and charisma at the same time. Do I have those in abundance? I don't know. You have to tell me. Again, I've already said, is people enjoying this? So clearly I'm not that confident today. I just ordered Logan and a box of Terminators as someone who's painting him now. How would you rate his assembly process on a scale of 1 to 10 for difficulty? Assembly is my least favourite bit. Assembly of him is fine. Absolutely fine. Cleanup of him is a little bit annoying because the connection points do sometimes go into all of the fur, and naturally because you've got the two wolves, there's connection points to the sprue in amongst the fur and the soft skin of the wolves. That's the hard bit to clean up. It's annoying, but it is what it is. A lot of the feet are kept separate from the wolves, which would be in a place to have connection points for the wolves on the underside of the bits of rock that they're attached to. That is something to praise the kit for, though, is that the feet are separate in this instance and they are attached to the rocks. So rather than trying to find that floating paw print to put the model in, you're gluing a rock to a rock, which is so that the wolves are going in exactly the right place where they're supposed to be, so the model is quite nicely balanced. So he's not bad build job. He's not a walk in the park because he's 50 components or whatever he is. There's a lot of components to Logan. But he's not bad for what he is, which is quite a complex model with a lot of different, things going on. Could it be sub-assembled if that's what you want to do? Yes, it could. The cloak is in such a way that it can be left off if you want to sub-assemble it, which is also a real positive because it's not like the cloak is in 3 different pieces and half of it's attached to the body. Oh, that snuck up on me. Key story. I've already liked it, but thank you very much for the £2. Chaos Knight Ruinator, amazing, but sub-assembly. Yeah, well, so I did do sub-assembly on the nights, because that's what we always do on nights. I did the Night Abominator like that. Just keep it in sub-assembly, so it just makes it manageable to paint. It's not that you couldn't paint it fully assembled, it's just manageable to paint and manageable to store and transport as well. That's the other thing as well. How to do white armor with purple shadows. Literally a nightmare. I would do it the way I do most of the thing, like with the glittering myriad. I would just wash the whole thing in Druchii Violet and then relayer it with Corax White is what I would do. Like this blotting paper. Blotting paper is a piece of absorbent paper that you have underneath the paper that you're writing on when you're using a fountain pen with, you know, very sploshy ink, basically. The idea being that it doesn't bleed through onto the page underneath, but also it doesn't bleed. It doesn't. The bleed happens on the blotting paper underneath the paper, so it doesn't happen on the paper you're actually writing, giving you nice crisp lines with your calligraphy, basically. I'll take notes on the confidence when I see it. Rarely do I ever have it. I need your help. If you only had one book to get people Liam's Thanes into AOS, what would you pick? I would pick Plague Garden. Easily. Just an amazing romp through Age of Sigmar. Plague Garden, 100%. If Josh uses an airbrush, he could be the next airbender. The last airbender. Or the worst airbender. Probably that. I was left in sub-assembly. I keep telling my mother off for the missing brain. Very good. Where do you keep all your painted miniatures? It must fill a house by now. I also would like to thank you for all your inspiration videos. Most of the AOS ones. Thank you very much. Dagfinn Kasperson. I hope I've pronounced your first name right there. I probably haven't. So I can only apologise. Where do I keep them? I keep them in this cabinet behind me. First and foremost. So there's this cabinet here. There's then a shed where I have a table that used to have games played on it very occasionally, maybe once a year, but that is now covered in miniatures. And there is a bookcase out there which is also covered in miniatures. There's my table round the corner here where I do my photography. That's covered in miniatures. And there's a set of these Kallax cubes from IKEA that are around the corner. Those are full of miniatures as well. I do not have a good storage system for my miniatures. They are just out and everywhere and all over the place. And eventually we're going to have to move. And there is somewhere in the region of about 2,500 painted miniatures. Probably more than that. But that's just my guess from looking at the stuff that I've done for the YouTube channel. And that number is only going to increase. So there's going to be a storage/transportation issue there, which is why I bought a War Mag box the other day to see if that is something that might help. But I haven't tested it yet. We shall see. That is not an economical way of doing it, though, so we shall figure it out. Eventually, though, when we move, I would like to have a big cabinet right behind me that has them all in. And then we can say, hey, guys, look at the big cabinet behind me. And then you'll all be distracted by that's behind me, rather than me, to the point of where I think I could probably just walk off and talk from off screen, and you can just look at the cabinet full of miniatures. That's the plan. I'm getting Celestin on Stardrake for my birthday on Friday. I got all the paints you used, but you didn't paint it sub-assembled. Should I? If you are more comfortable painting it in sub-assemblies, then you should, yes. It's not an easy one to paint fully assembled. Can you do it? Yes. I did it on a video for all of you guys. But if it's going to be easier for you to do it in a sub-assembly, you should do it in a sub-assembly. Do you not think you need to read Wardens of the Everqueen before? Not really. It does kind of stand on its own, Plague Garden. If it's truly something that somebody is coming to for the first time to get into Age of Sigmar, I honestly would recommend reading the Scaventide novel. Scaventide novel is, one, appropriate for the time that we're in right now. It's creepy, it's awesome, and there's lots of really cool stuff in there. It's a very, 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 very good book, the Scaventide novel. Hi, Master Warhipster. Are you planning to paint the new mini of Njal, the Stormcaller? You mean that one? From 1 to 10, how was a nightmare to paint the undercloak of the fully assembled Death Leaper in the Leviathan palette contrast tutorial? To be honest, not that bad. Maybe a 5? 5 or 6? So you're saying there's a chance. Of what? What did I say? There's also going to be a video of how to paint him as well. And eventually, when I get the time, there will be a video on how to paint these as well. As it stands, they only have Space Wolves Grey on them. You'll be shocked to hear that there's nothing new in these videos. In this video, though. Keith Story, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Haha, eggs on my face, but Sigmar lied. AOS rules. Sigmar did lie. He lied to his Stormcast Eternals, telling them that they were, in fact, eternal forever. They are not. I mean, they are. They are eternal forever, but not in the way that he wants. They lose a piece of themselves every time they die. It's not an easy life. It's a very difficult life, and yet they go anyway, because they are heroes, each and every single one of them. Is there a video for Njal? There will be. Will be a video for Njal tomorrow or Friday. Arjak and Njal will be out Thursday and Friday. Which is your best painted miniature ever? Ooh, I don't know. You guys tell me. What's your favourite video I've ever made? What do you think is my best? I have ones that are my favourites. You know, Archaon. Archaon was a big highlight for me. But then the Golden Demon judges said, no, it's rubbish, get it out of here. So, you know. Y'all ready for this? Guys, we got to 89 likes on the stream. Can we get 11 more to get to 100 likes on the stream? And also, we're on 23 out of 50 members. Can we get 27 new members to take us to a nice round 50? Is that a thing that we can do in the next 25 minutes? The likes are more important. I would love for the first stream back to be a 100 like stream. That would be awesome. Is Arjak Rockfist bigger than other Terminator models? He's on a bigger base. He's on a 50mm round base. Is he bigger than the other Terminators? Not really. He doesn't stand out to them. No, he's about the same size. It's not like Belial, who's absolutely enormous in comparison to the other Terminators. It's because he's leaning forward, you see. Isengard battle host. Usheran. It's Hammer. That horse was amazing. Oh, thank you very much. Your Angron is what got me in after the joke of the GW tutorial after doing the other 2 Demon Primarchs from the GW tutorials. Oh. Thanks, Athena. Wasn't the GW one like, you can do this in 10 steps? Can I? Do I want to on a model I just spent £100? That's one thing I don't understand, is when Games Workshop does the paint insert new faction leader that's massive in 6 steps. It's like, I mean, yeah, I can, but it's the centerpiece of the army. Surely that's the only one I want to put the effort in. If I'm going to do a quick scheme, it'll be on the rest of the models that are in the range, rather than the thing that's massive right in the middle of the army. Sort of felt quite bizarre to me, but there we go. Just as you have taught and inspired many of us, who is the person / people who taught and inspired you, Josh? Oh, so many throughout my life. It depends on what. I mean, like, there's different kind of facets of things that I take different inspiration from for different things, if you see what I mean. You know. The Hallowed will endure the most hellish trials without complaint if it serves the cause of the Almighty One. Exactly, it's because the Hallowed Knights are legends. I love the Hallowed Knights so much. Only the faithful! That's why I'm hoping to yell at the Golden Ticket event. Come on, tell me, chat. Josh. AOS models kick 40k. I mean, it wouldn't be for me to say, but, you know, it just... Yeah, I wouldn't like to make any direct comparisons between certain models, but, you know, I mean, like, if we were to take 2 ranges based off of some of their recent things, like, you know, let's say these Prosecutors and the Sanguinary Guard, if we put them side by side, one might say that one of these is distinctly more interesting and awesome than the other one, but who would, at the end of the day, it comes down to personal preference, you know? Who am I to say that? You know? I'm just a man on the internet with an opinion that doesn't matter. just saying, that's just a classic example right there of some flying guys with spears. You know? Just, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. Favorite video, who will be forever, the Grey Knights Strike Squad restarted painting because of it after 20 plus years. That's very kind of you, Pip2 number 42. Well, we all know that Thranduil on Moose Boy will be the best mini you've ever done someday. It might be. I might also make a really bad job of it. You might see that video and then just regret ever calling me a good painter, Tim. Or not Tim. Although there's some that call you Tim. Others call you Jim. Others call you Bob. Others call you Steve. Others call you Carl. There are many, many, many names. You go by many names. I think Cathay is the coolest faction in a while. However, I think they can be accused of detail creep. They have so much detail and it's so many different materials next to each other. It's daunting, especially as a jump up. I was actually talking about this with there are some who call me Tim. There is a jump up in quality, and it's, when you have an old range of models. This is the interesting thing about Old World, right? Because exactly the same thing happened as a blueprint with MESBG. So MESBG with the Rohan Warriors, you basically clip out the warrior and you stick on a shield, and that's pretty much the limit of what you do with your building time on it. You will have things like archers, which don't have any components to add, no shields or whatever. But in a box of 24 miniatures, which is reasonably cheap, they're not highly detailed. There is the occasional model where you have to put a shield on. 8 out of 12. So 16 shields you'll have to glue on, if that, right? There is a jump up between that as a tradition for the models from that range for that game to a Cathay miniature. So if you go from something like Tomb King Skeleton Warriors, where it's legs, torso, 2 arms, shield and head, and it's a very simple build, not an easy build by any stretch of the imagination, because it's horrible, but it's a very simple build with very few components. When you go from that to the Jade Warriors, it is a huge jump up in quality of plastic, detail and model, and yet it's still within a environment where you get 30 of them in a box. To make 3 units of 10, 2 units of 15, or 1 of 30 maybe. I'm not sure if you can do 1 of 30. So there is an interesting change. Now I think if they had taken their time with Old World and released ranges like this from the get-go, it would have been better. I think it would have been much less of like detail creep up to this point. But yes, it's not really detail creep, it's more like a detail explosion. But this is the type of quality that you should expect from Games Workshop kits, basically. So they look like kind of a nightmare to paint or even pick out what detail is supposed to be what kind of material: metal, cloth, leather / paper. Once you actually get them in hand, they're not that bad. The Jade Warriors, they are not a nightmare to paint. Well, I say this, I've only done the Jade Warriors. There is a video on how to do them. That has been released. That is out there in the wild if you would like to see it. They're not actually that bad once you get your hands on them and you figure them out. I did go with halberds because I thought they would be slightly easier. And they kind of were. Hey Mr. Hipster, I am very late, but lovely to have you back streaming. Thank you, very fake street spirit. Yes, I'm back. Let's hope that the weather holds like this. How many Terminator helmets do you get with the new Wolfguard? Do you only get bare heads? Don't get me wrong, I love a beard, but I suck at painting skin. Do you have any tips for skin? I think you do get 5. Do I have the sprues here? Maybe. Are you Terminator sprues? You look like Terminator sprues. Yes. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You get 7 Terminator helms. Seven Terminator helms. Yes. Do you have any tips for skin? Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of videos on how to paint the skin. The trick is, I've often found with painting the skin with contrast paint is load up your brush and just do it quickly. Like not too much on the brush, not too little. Don't try and do it in lots of little brush strokes because it's a little area. Just start from one area and go around the other. It's easier to do with a face when there's loads of hair all around it because you've got all this. Basically you have a recess that goes all the way around here like this, and that's where your excess paint goes in, right? When it's a bald head, it's slightly different. The way to deal with a bald head is start at the back and pull the paint forward down over the face. Do the side and do the side. If you can, try and make it so that your brush never leaves the model as you do it. It's not always the case, but that is one way of doing it. 40k, the game where people steal from other models from superior game systems, AOS Kill Team. then claimed they're inferior. Yes. you just hit the nail right on the head there, Edward. 4K is a much better game. Look at my Stormcast Space Marines. Oh. I would never understand why a lot of the new MESBG minis have their heads in two components, e.g. face being one part and the hair or helmet being another. Do you know what I think it is? I think it's because the face itself is so small, such the eyes are so small on an MESBG model, that it's easier on the milling machine or the injection machine to have it as a separate thing than to try and do the whole thing at once. Because I would imagine that, like with the old things, you'll have a case where one eye will just be like fused shut when it's not meant to be. Like on like the high elf warriors, for example, the faces on those are terrible because it's all in one component. I would guess it's something to do with that. But also sometimes it feels like they maximize the amount of components possible to make it just annoying enough for you to build. Hey Warhipster, I hope all is well. It is great seeing you stream again. Thank you, Jeffrey Barrow. I'm back. Yes, I'm okay, really. I'll recap the beginning of the stream. It was too hot for 2 weeks, so I couldn't stream. I have a bad knee, and I'm suffering from hay fever. I have a lot of mental health problems, and as a consequence of that, I feel like I'm an absolute and abject failure. And I wasn't sure if this stream was going to go well. But apparently it's going fine. So there we go. Is it okay to use 2 coats of contrast paint instead of 1 to remove patchiness? Do you ever do it? No, I don't. The reason I don't use 2 coats of contrast paint to remove patchiness is because contrast paint is translucent. If you apply a second coat of the same contrast paint over the top of one to try and fix a patch, what you will do is you will accentuate the patch and you'll make it even darker. Because it's like with a highlighter pen. If you use highlighter pens to highlight text in a book, for example, if you go back over it with the same highlighter pen, the color is doubled, right? So if you have patchiness with your contrast paints and you put the same contrast paint over the top, you are doubling down on the patchiness by accentuating the color. The way to fix it is to figure out what color you were going for and then use a glaze to smooth it out. If you would like to see that in action, you can check out any of my Space Marine videos from the Space Wolves range where we use a rust grey glaze to sort out any patchiness. For example, if you're doing Dark Angels and you're trying to get that dark green nice and smooth, you can use a glaze of Caliban green to sort it out. Same thing for Blood Angels, and you're trying to smooth out that red armor, you can use Mephiston red to smooth it out. Same thing for Ultramarines, you can use Ultramarine, you can use Macragge blue, or you could use Cantor blue for Crimson Fist and so on and so forth. That is the way to do it. Do you go to Bad Moon in London? Wondered how you partnered with them. I used to go to Bad Moon Cafe all the time. I do not live in London anymore. So it's very difficult for me to get there. But I love Bad Moon Cafe, and I'm more than happy to be a vessel for free advertising for them for the rest of the time. But I used to go all the time. I was probably in there weekly for a good period of time. Pre-pandemic. Because it's an awesome place. And they just opened a new location, actually. I've seen the sprues for the dull gold orcs, and those spears are so bent I don't even know how you would go about fixing them. I think I still have my dwarves army somewhere. Good old metal Khazad guard. Yes, one would hope that MESBG eventually will get around to not having fine cast anymore. I think they're kind of on the way, sort of doing it, but we shall see. There's a couple of characters, obviously, that have been redone. Prince Imrahil, Bolg. They've all been redone. Theoden was redone in plastic. Eomer, Gandalf the White. Faramir on foot in his ranger costume. Gothmog, Saruman, Grima Wormtongue, obviously. But it's very slow progress with MESBG because it doesn't make them a lot of money. But if everybody on the Warhipster channel was to suddenly start buying MESBG, they might go, what the hell's going on here? 87,589 people just bought stuff from MESBG. This stuff's doing well. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean you end up buying Finecast. Hope you visit again. I hope so too. I want to get down to their new location. I want to see the guys. I was actually texting with one of them the other day about Cathay. So yeah, no, they're just a wonderful, wonderful place. If you're ever in London and you're looking for a place to hang out, Bad Moon Cafe, check them out. They're great. Do you ever do in-person paid classes? No one's ever asked me to. It's not to say that I wouldn't ever do it. I would do it, but I've never been invited to do one, and I don't have the capital or the headspace to come up with one to then offer it to people. If you see what I mean. Never knock yourself down. Love your channel. If I didn't like the channel, I wouldn't like you. That's fair. Bean Creature. Question for the contrast master. Have you ever had contrast paints pool up completely and not spread at all? I put some on a model and it acted like pure water. As in it just like was a full bead effect. I'm not sure I've ever had that before. Was it quite an oily model that you were putting it on? I've had it where it's like dissipated before, and that's because it's been a bit greasy. Either from humidity or something else that was on the model, so just had to give it a good clean before I've been able to continue. I've never had it turn into like beads of water. It might be that it's hitting a sort of a very greasy or oily patch of the model that you can't necessarily see. Which is why it might have happened. You can get one-on-one help if you sub to the top tier of his Patreon. I think it says that. Does indeed. Does indeed. I'm off for the night. Have a good one. Have a good one yourself, Mini Painting Dad. Lovely to see you. Lovely to be back. I think with some creative cutting and green stuff, you could use the torsos of the new Rohan warriors with the legs on the old riders, but the horses would be out of scale, I think. That is true. I've seen Zorp did that, actually. If you don't know Zorp, you should go check him out. MESBG fans. He did some kit bashes with the old riders and the new Warriors of Rohan to get some new Riders of Rohan. I'm still hoping that there is a new Riders of Rohan kit on the way. And then I will do the remaining 12 Riders of Rohan that I have. Well, I'm also really hoping for Rohan Royal Guard in plastic. I've got all my fingers crossed for that. And if that happens, we will become a Rohan channel for a while. Zorp did new Arnor Riders and new Rohan Warriors. Ah, there you go. That's how he did it. I knew he'd done something with new Riders of Rohan. I couldn't remember what it was. I saw Zorp put up your plaque on his Patreon wall. Yes! I realised I've watched so much of his content. I was like, I need to subscribe to this man. So I did. Pay it forward, you know. He's a really good content creator, and he makes incredibly inspiring stuff. I hope maybe in 10 to 12 years I can pay him to build me a Helm's Deep. you don't mind random questions, how long does GW give you to paint their new minis that are coming out? Oh, that varies. That can vary. There's no time limit from their perspective. There's just a disclosure date. So there's a date from when I can talk about them. But I'm under no obligation to do any of them. That being said, sometimes they might say, hey, this thing's coming out on Saturday and it's going to get to you on Wednesday. And you'll be like, cool, that gives me 2 days. But that's very rare that happens. That happened with Tomb Kings, funnily enough. That was very, very delayed by the Postal Service because of Christmas and other things. So I knew that was coming a while in advance, and it didn't show up until the Thursday before pre-order day. Which is why there was a video from me saying, hey guys, I'm really excited for Old World, but I have no content ready for you at all. Because I just couldn't do it. I might be a bit of a machine, but I'm not that good. I wish I was. His terrain skills are insane. They are insane. There's a lot to be learned from him. I would like to attempt to recreate some of his builds, but I don't have the space, or the tools, or the time. So until I get all 3 of those things, it's unlikely that I'll be able to do it. Warhipster is also two of my favourite channels, and when I get a more stable income that isn't being poured into more Space Wolves, I will definitely become a channel member. That's very kind of you. Oh, hi, Emma. Thank you very much. So to basically paint every new model that releases, where on earth do you find the space to store finished products? Are you a wizard, or do you sell models you don't want to keep? Oh no, I keep them all. They're all here. Do the disclosure dates coincide with when the pre-orders go live? Indeed they do, Aiden. Typically at 10 AM, the moment the product goes on pre-order is when I am allowed to talk about it, which is when I'm allowed to release content. I don't release stuff at 10 AM because the reason I don't release stuff at 10 AM is because I don't want to spend the Friday night editing videos. Instead, the Friday night is reserved for frantically trying to finish models. But at 10 AM, the last thing you want to do when you're trying to get your hands on Logan Grimnar is watch my video about Logan Grimnar. See what I mean? So I wait until my typical release time, which is 7:30 PM at night. Which, you know, missing a trick there, because really I should be awake at 9:30 AM saying, hey everybody, I know you're excited to get these models, but why aren't you thinking about me first? Mr. Josh, you ever going to tackle Impulsor soon? Hopefully Black Templar's paint scheme. It's not on my list, I'm going to be honest, Madlock. And to be honest, with a black tank, I'd recommend that you prime it black and you dry brush it. It's just basically what I did. That was the thing with the Obsidian Sentinel. I was like, I mean, I could paint this Black Legion, but it's Black Legion with grey highlights. So it was kind of like, do I want to spend $455 on this model to paint it? Do you see what I mean? How do you transport your models when you do? Do you have a product you would recommend for transportation, or tips and tricks? When I want to go places, this is going to really upset some people. When I want to go places with my models, I will either use one of my old Citadel cases. I tried for a while to use a makeshift magnetic case using a Cavissel from IKEA and a tabletop tyrant bag that it sits in. I didn't like it because I don't think it really worked, and I didn't want to spend what I think is an obnoxious amount of money on a magnetic case. So I use my old Citadel cases for my infantry, and then for my big models I use a really useful box full of bits of foam and bubble wrap to keep them safe. Is what I do. I have a bunch of different cases though. I've got stuff like K&K cases that I've won from events and things like that. I'm thinking of I'm trying to figure out a way to do it though. I might be moving over to some war mag boxes basically, but I haven't tested them yet. I need to test them. Once I've tested them, I might make a video on them. I might not. If it works, then I'll make a video on it. If it doesn't work, I don't really want to make a video on something that doesn't work without finding something that does, if you see what I mean. I'd rather have, hey, this thing doesn't work, but this thing does, so I would recommend this over that if you're going to do something, rather than just put a video out that's like, this is rubbish. That doesn't feel cool. It would be another one like with my speed paint versus express versus contrast paint, which one is right for me type video. It's generally how I try and do things. Because, you know, there's enough saltiness in the world. I don't need to put any more in, if you see what I mean. How do you paint minis without the camera getting in the way? I'd like to record my process of a few things. It's because my camera is here. You probably can't see it, but if I maybe do that and I just tilt this a little bit. Nope. The monitor's in the way. My camera is here. It's above my table. So it's up there, suspended via a clever series of 2 things that I bought from various outlets. It's about 28 inches off the table up here. And then I have one camera over there, which is what I talk to when I stream. But where is the second camera? The second camera's here. Or the 11Z's camera. This camera's easy because I can just be like that. There's the other camera. Maybe if I do something like that's where the camera is. See what I mean? Eleven's camera, lunch camera, afternoon tea camera, dinner camera, supper camera. You do have those, don't you? I will. What I would like to do when we move, there's a lot of plans for when we move, is I want to have, for the painting videos, is I want to have a 2-camera setup. For one up here, and one down here on palette. So we have palette cam, we have this camera. So you can see what's going on the palette. You can see what's going up here, and we can cut between them as and when we go. At the moment, it's too much of a hassle to film the palette, then film that, because by the time I've set the camera shots up, it's too much of a pain in the butt. And then maybe we'll go full YouTube and we'll have the 3-camera setup, and I'll be in every take. I'll be like, hey, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna do this, and then we go to this thing. Can't use old camera for palette. No, so yes, we will use old camera for palette, but I don't have space to set it up now. It would have to go like here, and I'm in too much of a I'm in too much of a cramped space as it is. my desk is an L-shaped desk that is about I have about 39 inches worth of workspace on it, and my desk is only sorry, not 39 inches, that would be insane. My desk is only 19.5 inches wide, and no, 39 inches wide, so it's not a very big area that I'm working in. What I need is a much bigger area so I can suspend more lights, more cameras, more everything, more passion, more energy, more footwork. There goes my freedom units joke. Was expecting centimeters from the Brit. We're in Warhammer, baby. It's all inches. It's all inches around here. Anyway. We're still talking about workspace here. Yes. Yes, we are. No, I have a tiny little space that I work in. Like, I don't have enough height in the ceiling to put enough lights in, so I just have the 2 lights. One here, one over there. I need 2 more. So I can have one directly overhead and one behind as well. So basically I want a large rectangular desk where we can have right light, left, right, top light and back light. In order to have a really well lit area. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, monitor 1, 2. There's a lot of stuff which you just can't do at the moment. It's just not possible, sadly. But it will be one day when we move. Anyway, it is now 20 to 11, so we've gone over by 8 minutes, which is fine because I was late by 5 minutes. So I'm gonna run now, guys. I hope this was a good stream. I don't know. It's just me talking at you for 2 hours, 2 hours plus. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm back. Hopefully, if the weather stays like this, we shall be live on Monday and Wednesday next week. But I have no idea. There we go. And like I said, there will be Contrast Plus How to Paint Njal Stormcaller and Contrast Plus How to Paint Arjac Rockfist tomorrow and Friday. I don't know what order yet, but Thursday and Friday they're coming out. Lots of stuff to get on with. Anyway, I will see you all very soon in the next one. Here is the hand of farewell, and I shall wave it at you because you're the best. And that's polite. Bye, everybody. See you later.